Hello everyone, Macy Lou here. Welcome back to A Wild Approach. At the beginning of this video, I just want to talk about the disaster relief donations that you can make to Cocke County, Tennessee and to North Carolina. I'm going to put those on the screen right now. I'm going to leave the links in the description of this video. They have seen a widespread disaster, as a lot of you already know, but they can use all the help they can get with donations, monetary, or sometimes even actual food and water donations. And with the food, it would be non-perishable items. So check out these links that I'm going to put. I'm going to put the monetary donation options in the description of this video. Thank you guys so much for caring about the Appalachian community, the Southeast communities, all the communities around us. A lot of people are suffering right now and just need some help. But the bright side is a lot of the communities have come together and a lot of people are getting help that they need, but it is going to take a long time to rebuild some of these communities, especially over in Asheville, North Carolina. So it's going to take all of us to come together and do what we can to help people in our communities. Thank you guys.
Welcome back everyone to A Wild Approach. Today I'm just going to do a front garden stroll, but I'm also going to talk about what I've done in the garden today. I did trim some stuff back. I know I talk about leaving seed heads up, and I'm going to explain. So I do think it's best to leave your seed heads up, as many of them as possible, but I've changed my mind on leaving like all the seed heads up, and I'll explain why in a minute. But it is good to leave a lot of seeds on your plants for the birds because it becomes their food in the winter. So keep that in mind. But we had a lot of wind this year, and a lot of things fell in the wind, and they were tall. And they kind of get in the path, and then some of them don't get in the way of the path, but some of them do. And it's just, it becomes just a lot to move out of the way every time. And so what I did do today is I trimmed some of the dormant stems down and moved them. And another reason I did this is because I have verbena, and verbena is also called frost flower. And last year, I think it was, I finally realized that that plant is very happy and self-seeds really readily. And I just think it is, I have plenty of it, let's put it that way. And so by cutting some of these stems down, it helps me to reduce the spread because I have so many of them. I don't really need any more of them. And so I've trimmed a lot of those back, and I'm going to show you that. As you can see, I left some of them up, like this really tall one here, because it's still doing its thing. I think the flowers are about done, but and then a lot of these fell over. I left those, and then those can actually go to seed. But as you can see, this one plant has a ton of little flowers on it, and those become the seeds. And the seeds are really cool. But do you need a short, quick guide to get started in wildlife gardening? Well, turns out I've got just the thing. I just came out with a new free ebook just for you, and it's called A Wild Approach to Gardening 101. And it's available on my website today at macylou.com/shop. It's free, so go check it out. What do you have to lose? I have plenty of them. I do not need more. So What's great is I can harvest some of these seeds, I can let others fall. I'm still going to have plenty, and I can still cut quite a bit of them down now that they have gone dormant. And they've gone dormant early this year. It's another reason I cut them down. So you can see some of the stems here. They were completely, like, dormant. I mean, not really anything left. And another reason it's good to leave your stems is because they create habitat for stem nesting bees. Oh, look, there's a gold fritillary right there hanging out. Haven't seen them in a while because of the storm. I mean, I've seen them in the storm off and on, but anyway, so you can see a great example over there where I cut stems back, but I didn't cut them all the way down. And you can see that I cut them shorter there near the path versus like further from the path. I leave them a little bit taller, but that's right next to the path, so I cut them down shorter. And I just stacked some of the branches up right there, just so I'm leaving them in the bed to add nutrition to the soil. Basically, it's a chop and drop kind of situation right there, but I did put a bunch of stems back there, and I'm going to be moving those around the garden. And so another good thing about cutting things back is you can create brush piles with those, and it creates really great habitat for wildlife, especially for the winter. But again, it's really good to leave as many seed heads as you can possibly do within reason, and it depends on where you live. It depends on what kind of neighborhood you live in. It depends on what kind of garden you have. But yeah, so I've still got a lot of plants standing. I've still got plenty that can go to seed. I'm keeping all of that in mind, but I have trimmed back some things. Part of it is aesthetics, I'll be honest. I want the fall garden to be really, really, really beautiful. I'm not going to lie about that. But another part of it is just I plan to change the garden a little bit. I plan to add some smaller, shorter plants in the garden that aren't going to be so tall. It's not that I don't like the tall ones, it's just I need a mix. I need some shorter plants to kind of put in here in certain areas. And so I have trimmed back some of these tall things so that I can see the ground a little bit better. And what that means is I'll be able to come in here, now that it's fall, I'll be able to come in here and plant some new things. And so I can remove some of the taller plants that are in the wrong place and put in shorter plants. It's really just easier for me if these plants are shorter. It's easier to see what I'm doing. It's easier to put new plants in, take older plants out, whatever I need to do. And here's a little butterfly right here. It's some kind of little skipper with spots on it. It's so cute. It's just on the mist flower there. Can't focus on it, but it's there. Little skipper with spots. So we were really lucky. We didn't get a lot of issues with the storm or anything like that. It was really just wind, and I think we got about 4 inches of rain, but some say 3, some say 5, so I just kind of averaged it to 4. And the asters are really what is popping right now. So these asters are called late purple aster. And let me let that car go by. And what I want you to know about Late Purple Aster is that it is bushy, it's shrubby, so you might want to plant something in front of it that can keep it from spilling over, because this one is clearly arching and spilling over. As you can see, the butterflies and bees don't care, and it actually looks really pretty like this, but it's not really what I was meaning to do. As you can see, some of it's there, and it kind of spills this way, and it spills this way, so it takes up quite a bit of space. So just keep that in mind when you plant it. You might have to, when you put it in and it's a smaller plant, it might deceive you. It spread out a lot more than I thought it would, and mostly just because it spills over. So, but yeah, that's the superstar in the garden right now. It's this purple aster, and goldenrods, of course, are as well. And here are some goldenrods right here, doing their thing. The bees are actually out in full force today, and they're on the asters right there. Those are actually volunteer asters. But yeah, that's, oh, actually, we've got a lot of activity here. A lot of little critters here. And there's some fritillated caterpillars, and there's some butterflies, and so yeah, things are buzzing today now that the sun is coming out. So here's a stem I've left. Look at how tall that is. So I've left these stems here, right? And I've left those milkweed stems, and there's actually a chrysalis on one of them. But over here, I did a lot of trimming, and I didn't trim everything down, but I did a lot of trimming. So you can see, like, there's some stems here that I cut down. You can see in front of the arborvitae, I trimmed them so they were like up there. Trimmed them all the way down there. And it'll just make it easier for me to get in here, pull things out that need removed, and then add new plants that I want to add this year, shorter plants that I want to put kind of underneath the taller plants. And yeah, so it'll be easier to access what I want to work on. It'll be easier to see, mostly just easier to see what I'm doing. And the beautyberry, of course, is just absolutely gorgeous right now. And the birds are going to have a field day with these. In the winter, they like to wait until they kind of turn into raisins, like they kind of just get all shrivelly, and then the birds just go crazy for them. And then I have some new phlox right here for the butterflies. This really pretty pink flower. It's like a kind of a pinky purple. They bloomed like during the rainstorm, so they're a little bit tattered, but really cute still. And so the butterflies love phlox. And so I think I planted like 5 or 6 right there. There was already one there, so I might be counting that one too. But then if I step back, you can see habitat hedge. What I have in here is I have buttonbush, beautyberry, arborvitaes, American plum, American elderberry, eastern redbud, eastern red cedar, and then over there I have the black cherry tree. So that gives you an idea. And habitat hedge, the whole point of habitat hedge is to create habitat for wildlife while also being a pretty screen, like beautifying the space, trying to make it look, nice, but also provide habitat at the same time. And I think my favorite part is here, where I have American plum, mixed with elderberry, eastern red cedar, which I have to keep trimmed if I want it to stay shorter like this, and the eastern redbud, because I planted everything super close together, and that's really great for a hedge. But what I didn't know is I didn't know that American plum and elderberry don't usually go well together, because they kind of compete with each other. But they've been doing great so far. They've been in the ground for I don't know, 2 or 3 years now, maybe 4, and they've been doing pretty good. I'm sure that eventually they could outcompete each other. One could outcompete the other, but for now they're doing good. So I really like how that's doing. The black cherry tree, of course, is, one of our main shade trees. Pretty much our only shade tree at the moment. So yeah, that's the main, I guess those are the main things to look at the moment. We've got some ironweed blooming back here. Purple flowers. Got some blue mistflower in the distance back there behind the ironweed. And I've got salvia, coccinea, back there with the mistflower. Got Mexican sunflower here. And of course the goldenrod, which volunteered from the backyard. I let it grow in the backyard and then it seeded up here. So that's how that got here. Then I've got American plums in here, but you can't see them because they're babies. And I have crossvine in the background on the fence, which you can't see because it's a baby. And this is the newest bed. I think this is the newest garden bed. Eastwick is what I call it. So you've probably seen the video of us putting this garden in, and now you can see what it looks like later in the season. And we have the new plants, like the new plants in the front, like pink muley grass and pale purple coneflower. But then I have some other new plants in the back, like switchgrass. And I'm blanking on the other grasses. There's several grasses in there that we planted because we didn't have any native grasses, and those are really important for the wildlife too. Yeah, this is what it looks like on the first day of October. And I just can't wait for the fall color to show up, because that's really one of my favorite things is fall color. This redbud tree is beautiful. It's finally starting to look like an actual tree now. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to show you guys this late purple aster up close again one more time before I close the video, because oh my goodness, it is full of life right now. Brand new items are now available in the shop. Thanks so much to viewers like you for supporting the channel. To support the channel, like the video, comment, and subscribe. You can also support my work by buying art from me at macylu.com. Thanks for watching!